Alright, Schlockmeisters fans, one I haven't seen before. Lucio Fulci, lizard in a woman's skin. Let's check it out. So this is Carol Hammond having a dream that she's in her neighbor's apartment who has a lot of orgies going on. And now she's having, I guess, a dream where she's making out with her neighbor Julie. And now she's awaking from it all. She's been seeing a shrink.
Represents degradation and vice. The flat next door is a symbol of vice. You've referred to this woman before as someone who is not quite respectable.
This is her husband Frank and her father.
Partner. Hello. Why otherwise you think your name was the second?
I believe they work together.
Because I married your daughter and your daughter.
Come on. Oh, Frank. Mm-hmm. You're not being unfaithful to Carol, are you?
You're joking, of course.
But in reality, he is being unfaithful to her. Here's his side chick. Back to Carol's dreams again. Here she is stabbing her lover. Lo and behold, Juliet does turn up dead.
Ask you to wait.
Stabbed to death.
Any other drugs? A bit of everything. Hashish, LSD.
Poco di buono. Sì, la diura non è stata strangolata. No, cara. Niente.
Well, this part is in Italian for whatever reason. But she finds out that, yes, she was stabbed. So she was stabbed with a letter opener. Her letter opener's disappeared. And it's just like her dreams. For whatever reason, Carol is allowed to see the body.
His age is 23 years old.
A suspect is rounded up, but it's false confession.
And says he comes from Longford. Check the fingerprints? No, not yet, sir. But he's confessed to it.
So I think she's hanging out with her daughter-in-law now, or stepdaughter, I should say, and they ran into a couple of hippies, which she kind of recognizes. A couple.
You can't even remember it yourself.
Well, they match fingerprints on the murder weapon to Carol.
Father, there's only one thing I can tell you. One. I didn't kill her.
So she's sent to a sanitarium of some sort, because she is taken into custody. And then one of those hippie guys is seen on the ground and starts to chase her. She ends up going into some sort of lab room where there's dogs. You tell me. It's a disturbing scene, though. She ends up passing out.
Provided a plausible motive, wouldn't it?
For what? Killing Julia Dura? That's ridiculous.
Her father's doing his own investigation.
Kill Juliet Dura. And to put the blame on Carol.
That's crazy. You're forgetting Carol's fingerprints on the paper.
He's accusing him. Carol has a dream diary where she talked about all her dreams. He thinks that perhaps somebody read those and set it up using her dream notebook to do it just like in her dreams. She agrees to meet up with the hippie girl.
Look, you didn't kill Juliet Dura. But you don't know who did either. If you want to know, be at the Wendon Street Catholic Church at 4 o'clock, okay?
Well, she goes there, but doesn't find her. Instead, she finds the other hippie guy, who now is chasing her with a knife. For no reason whatsoever, she ends up in the attic, and bats chase after her. It's just not her day. The guy does eventually catch up to her and gets a few stab wounds in her. You know that bat spelled backwards is stab? Coincidence? Yeah. She passes out on the roof, and there's Dude. But before he can do anything,
Throw the knife away. Otherwise, I'll put a bullet through your head.
he takes off running.
And you?
Julia Dura was murdered by the person she was blackmailing. Only she wasn't blackmailing your son-in-law.
Yes, I remember.
Hippie dude.
Seen that night? A lizard. A woman's skin.
He was high on acid.
Shit.
Oh, beautiful.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Inspector.
Her dad commits
Edmund
suicide.
Brighton has committed suicide. Yeah. He left a note confessing to the murder of Julia Dura. Yes, we're waiting for the coroner to remove the corpse. We both.
At the gravesite, the detective still questions Carol. Turns out those two hippie people were high on LSD, but witnessed the murder.
I'm convinced he heard what I was asking you. They didn't see you.
She did kill her.
You didn't know they were blind witnesses. They didn't know who you were, of course.
Brian.
The lesbian affair was going to
You
get out
should
to the
be careful
public.
about scandals and the seamy side of life. I have a bit of news to sell either to you or the newspapers.
So that was Carol's motive for killing her. And she's taken away at the end of our movie. Alright, let's talk about Lizard in a Woman's Skin. Today was the first time I had ever seen this movie, although I believe it was a bootleg VHS of this tape, which I acquired maybe 17 years ago or so, mid-2000s, 2005, 6, I don't know, somewhere around that time. But I never actually got around to watching it, at least I don't think I did. So today was the first. It's Lucio Fulci did this movie, and like a lot of movies that Fulci did, and it's very similar to like a horror or giallo type, I don't quite always understand what's going on in this one. This one, I think for the most part I understood it, but here we go. So there's this woman named Mrs. Campbell whose neighbor, Julie, was it Julie or Julia? I can't remember, is murdered one night. And turns out that Mrs. Campbell, what was her first name? Shit, I forgot. Carol. Carol's been having these dreams that she's been killing her neighbor, stabbing her 3 times with this like the specific knife thing that she has, was an envelope opener or something, I don't know. And then when she finds out their neighbor actually was killed, she's freaking out like, I didn't do this, but I've had dreams of doing this, and it's exactly like in her dreams. Her fingerprints end up being on the murder weapon as well, but she's been in the house a lot, so that could have been explained. I don't know, but her neighbors always had these like drug and orgy parties, that sort of thing. So anyway, the police investigate, and eventually at one point she's arrested because her fingerprints are on the weapon, but she seems to have no memory of it. But then she's sent to this sanitarium where she gets chased by this hippie guy. It turns out these hippies, this hippie couple witnessed the murder. And then her father's involved here. Her father's like a wealthy guy or something like that. And then her father ends up dead also. Looks like a suicide. It was a suicide. And he left a note behind saying that he's the one who killed Julie, and that should wrap up the case. But then when the police inspector keeps investigating further, confronts Julie at her father's grave site, and basically accuses her of doing it. What ultimately was going on here was that Julia and Carol were involved in a lesbian affair, and there was this other woman who was aware of that, or maybe it was Julia, I don't know, somebody was going to go to the press and let everybody know that there was this affair going on, so she had to die. Carol did in fact kill her, stab her, but these 2 hippie guys, or hippie couple I should say, were watching it as it happened. However, it turns out they were high on acid and couldn't really identify. In fact, one of the hippies said later on that it was a lizard in a woman's skin. I think that was a reference to being high on acid. She could have gotten away with the murder basically because the hippie could never identify her when they're high on LSD. So, but ultimately, she does get arrested at the end of the movie and taken away, and that's how our movie ends. It turns out the father realized all this, discovered it, and killed himself when he found out. So there you go. There was also a subplot here where Carol's husband was having an affair with this other lady, and they thought there was some blackmail going on. I don't know. It's all a little confusing to me, and like a lot of these movies, I think I need to see them multiple times before I have a full grasp of what's happening. And again, that's the problem that I have with these types of movies, is they're not easy to follow unless I just have some sort of mental block, where I have problems following these types of plots. Again, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I have some issues with them. But anyway, that's it. The movie itself wasn't bad. It's just that, like I said, always a little confusing for me. And again, maybe it's me, I don't know. You tell me if I'm wrong. But anyway, I have this DVD here. It was put out by a Shriek Show. I only acquired it recently, actually. I haven't had it in a long time, but it's got some extras on here, an interview with a Fulci expert, trailer, that sort of thing, all kinds of stuff. So there you go. Lizard in a Woman's Skin, I would be surprised it's been released on Blu-ray as well. I think it has, actually. I'll leave a link to that down below if you're looking for that. A little bit of nudity, decent amount of gore. Actually, the gore was pretty decent, actually. Some, like, cuts and stuff. And, of course, there was that weird scene, which has some notoriety, where she was in the sanitarium and she walked in and saw this experiment on these dogs. These dogs had their guts ripped open, but they were still alive. The hearts were beating. Very disturbing scene, actually. In fact, I don't know what the hell that scene was even in the movie for. But apparently, from what I read on IMDb, Fulci was taken into court and over this, because it seemed to indicate cruelty to animals. But then he brought his special effects team in, who actually had the props of these dogs to show them, no, that was not real, what you saw there. So, wow, there you go. Anyway, that's it. Lizard in a Woman's Skin. I'll leave a link to something down below if you're looking to buy it from Amazon. And check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about it. Watch it. Bye.